One. Hi, welcome to another. It's been a long day. Another exciting episode of the Andre The Beast Crayton Show. Today, we're going to talk about one man's musical journey to keep music alive. And let me explain to you what that means when I say keep music alive. It's taking those old hits, those classic, and re singing them into our ears. That way we don't forget. And then also bringing in his own style of music and I call it the arts, bringing the artwork to life. I'd like to welcome to the show all the way from Minneapolis, Minnesota, the one, the only, Mr. Talent himself, Darnel Alexander. Welcome to the show, big guy.
Thank you so much for having me, man. I'm honored to be on your show.
You know, before we get into life's journey for you, tell the viewers a little bit about who Darnel Alexander is. And by the way, I love the name Darnel. That's my brother's name. That's a special name, man. I'm glad that you took that name and really doing something with it. But tell the viewers a little bit about who you are first.
Well, I really got to thank my mom for bringing me to this earth and giving me that name. And I'm originally from Seattle, Washington, and that's really where my music journey started. And, we go all the way back to the early 90s when I was in a group called Second Nature. That's kind of like where I really started kind of popping out and people, getting to know a little bit about, my music and my sound. So we were in a 4-man a cappella R&B group doing some tours with Patti LaBelle, Boyz II Men, Montel Jordan, to name a few. There was a lot more on the road, but those guys stood out, and Jamie Foxx, we kind of ran into him too. So we ran into a whole bunch of people. But the real thing was it was a nice opportunity for us to get that sound out there. I still had the doo-wop, but a little bit of R&B with it. Mm-hmm. And, that's really where the journey started. And then did a bunch of solo projects since then. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people now are getting to know me again through social media, through the covers.
When did you decide to you mentioned some key names. You mentioned Boyz II Men, and I mean, those are that's a serious acapella. Along with New Edition, but you mentioned some pretty key things. Did they, before you decided to go off on your own and you went on tour with these guys, what did they inspire anything in you to help you guys as group before you decided to walk away on your own?
I think we always had an appreciation for how good they were. We went to their concerts and we kind of off to the side watching them, and then met them a couple of times one-on-one. There was one time where there was a basketball game going and they weren't allowed to sing for whatever contractual reason, and we stepped up and did the national anthem. I think being around people like that showed us really the professionalism of the game. How to carry yourselves as gentlemen. And, obviously we did that in our own normal world, but then to, see that in a professional setting was pretty amazing.
What was one of the reasons that you decided to venture off on your own versus remaining with an a cappella type environment?
I've always felt like I was a solo artist. And I've always wanted to create music on my own. And I've always believed that if I got with the right producers, they would, really be able to showcase my voice in a way that would let people know what I feel and what I believe inside to be, something that is unique and that would stand out. And, I grew up in the crooner era, and, the Luther Vandrosses and People Brysons of the world and Freddie Jackson, those people that were just solo artists, but really singing those songs that made people feel some type of way. And I always felt like that's the lane I wanted to be in.
Were there ever, and I'm gonna just be straightforward, I mean, when you're a lead singer, you stand out, but were there ever any, let's call it what it is, any resentment from the band that you was with because you decided that you want to go off on your own? Because naturally, if you're the lead singer, you're getting all the attention. It's not that you want to leave, but were there ever any resentments that you had to go off on your own?
With the group, we never had that going on because um, it was more like with the group and the label, it kind of dissipated. And so we kind of felt like, okay, what are we going to do? Are we going to like take this and keep rolling with it? Or, if anybody, wants to step out now kind of thing, right?
Mm.
But as a solo, even in the group, back in those days, I was very shy, very reserved, even though, I was doing talent shows and stuff before by myself and whatnot.
Yeah,
Always inside, I always felt like I wasn't used to carrying that talent, right? Carrying the responsibility that talent has. I just thought of that just now.
there is no way you're going to sit here and convince me that you was shy in any way,
Yeah.
shape, form, or fashion when you clearly said you also dabbled into bodybuilding. I know as a professional bodybuilder, I know a lot of people say, "How can you get up there with them skimmies on?" And I tell them, "Well, I don't see the crowd. You know, what I mean, I'm probably in my own zone." But with that said, I don't see you being that shy person. If you were shy, what made you come out to be the artist that you are now?
Yeah, believe me, there's a lot of years in between that bodybuilding phase and the music. But I always believed that singing was my voice. So I had to let that be heard, right?
Right.
And as time went on and I experienced a couple of different other opportunities with music, it started to slowly break me out of my shell. I did a lot of self work too. I've always been kind of working on myself all along to be the person and realize who I'm really supposed to be. Stop being afraid and yeah, be humble, but really toot your own horn and don't be afraid to embrace what you are and what you do. And for the longest time, I felt like sometimes it was too much for other people, or I was too afraid to ruffle feathers. But at this point in life, once you get a second chance, there's no turning back. You just get in there and let it happen.
When that two-part question, who were your mentors that you looked up to that helped you to overcome the stumble pits that you was dealing with of recognizing your value in your career? Who did you gravitate to that literally helped you? Because a lot of times we can probably do it on our own, but a lot of times we do need that support to some degree.
I never had a specific person that was like a mentor, but what I did do was I always, and even this growing up, I've always looked up to a certain type of person or individual and the way they carried themselves. Like people watch movie stars on TV and they're like, I would love to be that, and I think like, for example, like a Denzel Washington, and Nat King Cole, the class that they carried themselves with. I always felt like I wanted to embody that smooth but calm nature, but very there's a little mystique to them, but at the same time, they're personable.
When you had to pick the particular character, because consider, I always consider, even uh, even as a professional bodybuilder, I had the ego and the alter ego. When I'm on stage, I'm this. I'm the beast. Nobody's gonna take me. But then I go back when I'm in the gym. I'm an animal. I'm humble, and you got the three stages of manifestation. What are the three things that you are when you're creating that character? How did you come up with the particular person that you wanted to be on stage? Like, was it a Luther Vandross type image? Was it a People Bryson? And how did you pick that image?
I always think back to when you mentioned People Bryson and Luther Vandross. You remember when People Bryson would step on stage, and as soon as he opened his mouth, people would just start screaming and like, he didn't even hit this, he didn't even walked up to the mic yet, and it's just like once he
Darnell,
hit those couple.
Darnell, check this out. Check this out. My first concert ever. I'm gonna tell you, this was the lineup. I had front row seats, Market Square Arena. I was still in high school. That shows you how long ago this was. This was the opening act. The Gap Band with Charlie Wilson, Rick James, Tina Marie, and last but not least, whoa,
Oh,
People Bryson.
what?
that was a star-studded lineup. And I
That's
get
crazy.
what you're saying. When he hit that, everybody in the place was screaming.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So I've always admired and looked up to people like that. My first concert was Luther, man, and it was the one where it was all black and he's walking past the mic, and I'm like, where is he? What's happening?
Yeah.
You know, he's just hitting that note. And I've always looked up to the way people move, the way they carry themselves, and I've always been attracted to people that that had that magic. Want people to feel some type of way with their voice, not just all the other parts and the flash and the glam. It's the soul that you're putting out there.
What when so you decided to gravitate more to a Luther Vandross style. What did you
Yeah.
do what did you do to take away or to add to make yours even more unique?
That's funny that you say that because this is the time that I've brought Luther Vandross to people in public. It sends in talent shows.
Right.
And so I knew that I would be more like, okay, I'm Skinny Luther, right? I'm bringing a whole different vibe to it, but more of, I would say an updated version, Skinny Light Skin Luther. But I wanted to bring them still to class, but with a little extra edge to it, a little sexiness to it. So I want people to, the takeaway from it is you're getting the experience of the soul and the singing, but you're also getting the vibes of man, it's that whole it's like Maxwell meets Luther Vandross, smooth character, but still blowing.
What was the crowds? This is a two-part question. The first part of the question is, what was it like when you first step out to perform the new the new creation? The second part of that question is, how are people resonating to what you have done as an artist?
Okay, yeah. I mean, for the first part of that question, I was just as surprised as they were probably because uh, I hadn't really understood what happened until I watched it back and started listening to the responses. And the first song I did was "If Only for a Night,"
I love it.
and so I sang it and posted it, and people are like, "Oh, that's a great song. You really like that's good." But then to hear people's reaction in person flipped me out. I was like, "Oh, this is interesting. I've never performed on a stage and heard that before." Almost like they're like, "Is that real?" Like the oh wow, almost swearing like, yeah, So and I'm like, okay, this is a good thing because I want people to really take away from a performance like something memorable, something they'll remember, something they'll hold on to in the most positive way. And then the second question, I want people to vibe with the new creations and sounds that I'm bringing. I want to keep that whole 80s, 90s R&B vibe alive, but still keep it current. And that's always tricky because you want the music to match, but you also want the singing. You want the singing to sound current, but not too old. And so I think I've been successful with kind of walking that fine line.
How do you get your how do you come up with your ideas to know what lane you want to stay in but still be creative at the same time? Does it vary with does it vary with vineyards? Like if you're in Nashville, you got to bring a certain type of feel to Nashville. If you're in, which I know you're coming to Indianapolis, I already know you bring a certain type of feel. So how do you wind up doing your homework with what you do?
Well, I know with the Luther stuff, he's worldwide, so people are going to receive that everywhere. And then when I start venturing out and places want me to do some original material, I'm pretty much going to base it on the vibe of the venue and the demographic. So, and that's always tricky because sometimes you just don't know. But what I think is, if it makes me feel good, if I'm feeling some type of way, then at least I'm going to be able to deliver a good performance on stage and make people feel what I feel. That's really what I want people to do because there's nothing better than going to a show and hearing something new.
Yeah.
Like when I first heard D'Angelo, I was like, "What's this? What is this?" and his background singers kind of reminded me and reminiscent of Luther Vandross because they were tight. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? I want people to have that kind of experience, like, oh, this is different. This is, but it's cool. That like have that they need to process it, but they like it type vibe.
How do you pick your songs? Because you're talking about allowing people the opportunity to hear great entertainers from all different eras. Do you bring
Yeah.
more of your personal favorites into the equation, or um, you go by what's popular?
I like to bring in my personal favorites. And it's funny that you asked that, right? Because when I get a lot of requests online. People are like, you should sing this, you should sing that. And I always think if I'm going to post or sing a song, it's got to sound like something that um, you've got to be able to tell that I like what I'm doing, right? So some songs, I think, yeah, that makes sense. That's a popular song. Everybody's covered it. But I do like covering songs that people forgot about, like with LTD. I dedicated that one to my mother. We both deserve each other's love, but
Yeah.
everybody's saying do love ballad, right? And I'm like, okay, I can do love ballad, but do you remember this one? And so I kind of like to hit people with that.
What's the difference between, let's put it out there. What's the difference between you and a Michael Bublé?
Oh yeah, Michael Bublé is very much in a solid straight lane, and I do a lot. I'm almost like if you think of like Ariana Grande and Jamie Foxx, how they can kind of be a chameleon with what they do.
Yeah.
And I don't want people to put me in one specific spot because I feel like I got so much left to do on this earth. So, it could end up being that I'm acting. It could be that, I'm doing, I'm singing with some of the classic artists, but then all of a sudden I flip around and I do something dope on some of the current artists, like a duet or something like that. That's what I want to do.
You mentioned acting. Have you done any acting?
I have not, but I've always dreamed of being like in action films and sci-fi. So you never know.
Which action film and which sci-fi?
Look, I mean, if I could be in 300, I'd be all, you know what I'm talking about, right? 300. Come on. You wanted to be up in that. Some Spartacus. Come on.
Yeah, yeah. I'm so thrilled about Gladiator 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love Gladiator 1. I was like, man, I wish I was a little bit younger where I could have got a role in that, man.
Look, man, somebody was coming up to me when I was really heavy into bodybuilding. Like, you look like Spartacus, that one guy. I'm like, I know what you're talking about. I said, that dude's more ripped than I am.
Okay, let's go back to your music thing. So, how difficult is it for you to stay current with what the crowd demand is in the music industry?
Well, I think I had a battle with that for a while, and then I decided that when it comes to covers, those are timeless. And when I do original material, I always like to think of doing something that's more timeless, so I don't have to deal with, oh, I hope it's up to date or with whatever's happening right now. Because they got Vito and Bryson Tiller and all those cats, and Usher's still doing this thing with Chris Brown. Those are like the goats, of the new current era. But at the same time, people like myself can still appeal to those, 30 plus and up folks that want to hear some crooning and hear some real good loving type of music, but vibe to it. So I like to, I believe I can kind of hit all those bases. You know what I mean?
How hard is it in this day and age with um, the digital way of communicating? Is it for you to be accepted worldwide? And has it been a difficult journey for you in the new digital age, or is it a lot more easier for you to get your message out in what you do?
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that because I think prior to my TikTok fame, I would have been right on your side about it being difficult to get the word out about what I do in my sound. And social media, I've learned to really embrace it because it's like that's really where people live these days. And so I can really pretty much put anything out there and be able to share parts of who I am and what I do and get that message across not only in the United States but worldwide.
Is there a demand for the style of uh, music that you do? Is it, are vineyards looking for something new about the way that you do it? Is there a demand for it?
Yeah, definitely people are looking for, it's funny that you mentioned that because you got the grown and sexy crowd, and there's a lot of people who just want to be able to chill out, have a nice dinner, go to the vineyards and do the wineries,
Mm.
and just sit back and listen to some really good singing. And from what I know, there's a large demand for that. But also, just really good music in general. People want to book an artist that's not only going to sound good, but appeal to the people that they're bringing, that are paying money. You know.
How difficult is it for you to navigate in a world where you're doing something different, but let's get real. You got agents, you got this. What has been the most difficult part of what you do? What's been the most difficult part?
The most difficult part for me is time because I do work a full-time job. I'm just getting started with, trying to build this career into what I know it's going to be and what I see it to be for 2025 and beyond. But time, I want to record more material, like yesterday, and I want to, create more content, and but I have a little girl who's like, 16 months old, and and I want to work out, right? It's like all this stuff, you know what I mean? And then I want to respond to all my fans, in a way that at least they feel heard and listened to. So yeah, that's the juggling act. But at first, it was really rough because I wasn't used to it. I hadn't experienced anything like that before. Um, but now, yeah, I think I've kind of got it under control. With bodybuilding, we're disciplined, right? It's like you put everything where it's supposed to go, and then you attack it.
Right.
And I think I need to kind of manage that.
What's it like having a little girl and doing everything that you do? What does she think about her dad going out singing all the time?
Like she's so young right now, she has no idea, but she is so excited when I get back home, and I love that. It's the best feeling in the world. And I'm telling you what, it drives me to achieve. I'm not putting any limitations on what can happen and what I can achieve. I think this, man. When I never ever in my life believed I could win anything because I'm not good at sports. And when I won my first bodybuilding trophy, I did first place for open class and masters. Right? I'm like, I'm an
Yeah.
old man killing these cats.
There's nothing wrong with the
That
masters category, man.
look, look, man, but it taught me something, and it taught me that I had the discipline and determination to overcome a lot of obstacles because I saw a lot of cats that were ready to go and they would like be done right at the gate. They're like, I'm done. I'm like, your show's tomorrow. They're like, nope, I gotta go eat. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Like, you did all this hard work and you're giving up? No, there's a lot of noise and background noise. You're watching what other people are doing, and I just try not to compare. I admire what other people are doing and their talents and their gifts, but I have to remember this is my show, this is my own little world, and I gotta focus on that.
How much tell me what it's like to be on stage as competing and doing your music. Like how does the two go together for you? Because you're still
Yeah,
entertaining. How do you switch the two?
it's very similar because you get on stage, right? You're backstage and you're getting ready to pop out, and you got all these other cats, in front of you. But I kind of equate it to a 40-yard dash. We ain't looking back, we just looking ahead. So
Yeah,
when
yeah,
we walk out on stage, man, it's us. That's it, and the crowd.
yeah. Let me ask a very important question. You do a lot of the greats when you're performing. Do you how often do you bring any of your own music into your performance?
Yeah, I do. And some folks will ask me to do some classics and intermix my own into it. And I love that because then people get a taste of my own original sound. Like October London, he came out with Marvin, but he really does have his own sound. And I want people to kind of know that, not only have I had my sound since the early 90s, but I'm hoping that they are digging some of the new vibes I'm putting out. So I think that keeps it really interesting for people.
You mentioned your own sound. I hear that from a lot of artists, and they say, "I want my own unique sound." And I think we all do have our own unique sound because we vibrate on different frequencies, but we all come together at the end. What exactly, when you say your own sound, what is your sound?
Yeah, my sound is a combination of a lot of the greats. If if you're a real true aficionado, you'll listen and you'll say, "Wait a minute, I hear a little bit of this in there, and I hear a little bit of that." But I always like to say my sound is a velvety smooth type of vibe.
What is, if I'm listening to this show
Yeah,
and I'm listening to your journey, what message should I be getting from you right now?
to be on the lookout. Be on the lookout because this is the funny thing is, I'm a spectator in the sport too.
Right.
And I'm watching my own journey as, at this age and this stage in my life, I'm able to be more present to kind of enjoy the journey and watch as it goes along. And my excitement, it's not, I'm trying to share my excitement with people, but at the same time, I've got to hold it back because I want them to really get the punch from, a new release or from, a new post that I do. So I have a lot of excitement towards what's coming in the future.
What do you like better? Do you like singing the oldies but goodies, or do you like performing your own material? And give a sample as to why on each one.
Um, I love doing the oldies because I've always been a crooner or a classic balladeer. That's where I really shine the most. But at the same time, you know, I love singing like a vibe song or, doing something that's just kind of like, I don't really have to like, blow it out
Mhm.
or do a lot of vocal acrobatics or anything like that. But with like the classics, it's how it makes me feel when I'm singing it. It's almost like when somebody's listening to Nat King Cole or Frank Sinatra and they get taken back somewhere. Or Luther Vandross, I sing one song and automatically I go to that moment when I heard the record.
Mhm.
And then one of the things I like most is actually creating the new stuff. It's one thing for me to get on stage and perform something I've written, but the creative process is almost like, making a child or something. You get to, you're in there and you don't know what it's going to turn out to be, but you like it. And once it comes out and you're finished with it, you're so proud of it. And you're so like, you know, I don't know. It's creation is a great thing. It's
What's
almost like trans.
what's two of your favorite creations that you wrote yourself and why?
Look at you, man. Why are you trying to mess with me like that?
Hey, you knew
uh,
what you was in store for when you accepted the invite.
um, I'm very proud of Have My Baby. A lot of times when I don't proclaim myself to be a great songwriter, but with some songs that I write, I'm actually um, taken aback that I even created it. So Have My Baby was a really good one. I felt like so much passion and desire and emotion came out of that song and and the words that I wanted to convey. Like I want people to be like there with me, like you feel me on this.
Yeah.
You know, going through all my whole life and no one ever wanted children with me. I was like, what's wrong with me? Brother had good credit, I had good jobs, I could sing. I mean, I work out. What the hell is wrong with me, right? And so I put that song out there, like, you know, I need to express that to people. And um, another one is and I wouldn't say it's one of my best songs, but it's just the creative process in it is I'm pretty proud of it. Crazy. I felt like I really put the R&B on that. Like I was like, okay, this if this song was out in the '90s, people would have been all up on that.
Right. You said crazy. It's not the same as the Sting crazy, right?
No,
Not,
it's
not
like crazy.
Sting, but what's his name? What's his name that wrote Crazy? Seal. Seal. So it's not the same type of crazy as Seal.
It's like crazy. This crazy making love crazy.
Ah, okay, okay, okay.
you
Um,
know.
I got another question. I got tons of questions to ask. Out of all of the singers, the greats, which three do you like to perform the best and why? Which artists? Outside of
Luther.
Luther. We know you like Luther, but outside of Luther, don't mention him. Which is
Um,
other three?
Another one that I like to do is Alexander O'Neill.
Thank you. I was hoping you would say that.
It's his texture, the texture in his voice and the smoothness. I've seen some old videos on him and really got blew away by his version of A House Is Not a Home. And you know, back in those days, I remember being in high school and burning up those tapes.
Yeah.
Um, Hearsay, that record, that was it for me.
Yeah.
Crying over time and sunshine and all that, man. I was like, you Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis went in on that.
Yeah.
Um,
I still think to this day, he is by far. This is just my opinion. I mean, I like people Bryson, and I like Luther Vandross. I like Freddie Jackson. I like Keith Washington. But
Washington, yeah.
yeah,
Right.
and you know what? A name I don't want to leave out is definitely Howard Hewitt.
Yeah, man. He's smooth as silk,
But
but still got the
yeah, but when you hear Alexander O'Neal, god damn, dude, you
that's
want
what I'm saying.
you want to learn the words. He'd be like, shit, what is he
You
saying?
want to
Yeah,
you want to learn the words, man. I'm trying to tell you, them people made you sing back in the day, right?
yeah.
And uh and I'll tell you, my last favorite artist was of the '90s. When Joe came out, I about lost my mind.
Oh yeah, I forgot all about him.
His first record, I ain't never heard nobody sing like that in real life and in church, nowhere.
Yeah, I got to forgive myself because I should have mentioned Joe. I love Joe.
That's somebody I would love to have write for me. That dude, he embodies R&B with the sexiness and the class all in one.
And you know what? I noticed his transition that he can go from the smooth silk to even a little bit of get you on the dance floor. And
Edge, yeah, with that, I'm in love. He had that one, and
yeah,
yeah, he had some dope tracks, man.
do you ever think about collaborating? Like, Joe did some collaboration with some female artists. A lot. Alexander O'Neal did Chanel. Did you ever? Howard Hewitt did some duets. You think about doing that in the future with your style of work?
Absolutely, I've already put some feelers out there. It's just a matter of time before I get in the studio and knock out a banger with somebody.
What are you looking for? Who would be the perfect artist for you to work with?
Somebody recommended, and this blew me away because I hadn't heard from this young lady in a long time. Shantae Moore.
Yeah.
You remember that voice?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
We got to make that happen. We got to make that happen. I might have a connect. I
Look,
might have a connect with that.
somebody had mentioned that to me, and I was like, okay, because I used to be obsessed with like Faith Evans. I was just like, that's my girl right there, and
Yeah.
Brandy. Those, I'm like, you girls be singing so good. I'm just like, I could sit back and be like, just
But why Shantae Moore to you? Why her? I know she's a
it's,
beautiful singer. She's a beautiful woman, but what makes you think the chemistry is there?
it's the power and it's the versatility.
Hmm. Interesting.
You know, she can sing all up into the rafters, right?
You know who
With
I
no,
thought you might have said? And
yeah.
Mariah Carey.
Shut the hell up. See, I was going to say that, but I mean, you know, it's like when you have a dream or a goal. They say shoot for the universe, shoot for the stars. I was like, I don't know if that woman would want to sing with me, but I would kill a song with her, man. Come on now.
Yeah, because we just downloaded all of her songs on the iambeast radio station, and yeah, I remember like the soundtrack Butterfly. And I mean, it's
Yeah, yeah.
she was really singing a lot of sing, but just the way that she tells a story through songs made you listen. And then she
She's really,
come out of nowhere with that high pitch. You be like, I still look, Darnell. I'm still in the car trying to sing her pitch, knowing I can't even get there. But you know what I mean? It's like crazy.
I'll open my mouth and let no sound come out. That'd be it right there.
That's what I do. I'll be like
Yeah.
all the
You
way.
know, it's like subconsciously I said it out loud and I was like, yeah, that would be actually super dope to do a song with Mariah Carey because I like to be challenged as an artist and to sing with somebody like that would definitely bring out some different vibes
You
in
said
me.
you said you like to be challenged. Give me an example of what
So
challenges are you talking about?
so what I mean by that is even musically, like when I'm singing a song, I need the music to be so stupid dope where I've got to like measure up to it. And with an artist, you know, singing with me, I need to be able to, I need to be able to hang with them, right? Because if I'm over singing it, then I have to hold back. Or if the music isn't, really happen. And then I'm really holding back on what I really could give people. And I want to give people everything.
Who's the one? Who are the two, male and female, entertainers that you long to meet, and why?
Melba Moore, because she's kind of been on this journey since I started this second go round. She seems like just everybody's auntie, super sweet, and just a stellar classic person, in general. And I want to meet Joe.
Okay.
I I spent hours in the studio sprinkling little bits of inspiration from him on a lot of material.
Like, what do you take from Joe and bring into you? Because look, I'm sitting here going, why does all the good girls,
In every
Yeah,
time.
yeah. Like, what are three of his songs that really make you go, wow?
Everything is on his first record.
Okay.
Everything you want, you can have it. Everything you need, you can get it.
Yeah.
I've got all you need, baby. I
Yeah.
mean, he kills that song so tough. I mean, there's no one in this planet that could do that.
Yeah.
I mean, he took it to church, to R&B. He stomped on that and made sure everybody saw all the glass.
That is crazy.
The second, um, what was the question? Not in law. So I got stuck on Joe, man.
I say, give me three of his songs that's been truly a masterpiece for you to use in your own craft.
A lot of them came from that record, but all the things.
All the things your man want to do.
Yep.
Yeah,
Just so smooth.
that was deep.
And what I learned from Joe was he built a song. So he always had the intro, it's cool. Music give you a little bit of tone. The verse, solid, and then by the second verse, he's like, you guys get ready. I'm getting ready to pick up this table and throw it. Just I'm about to go out, and you just need to be ready. So he always built the song on a level of like a 1, 2, 3, like intro,
Yeah.
you know, verse, bridge, and then when I'm taking out, I'm laying you out.
What's your last song by Joe? Let's see if me and you on the same level because I got the song already in my head.
Oh,
Let's put it like this: it's a remake.
oh, did you? I know he did a remake of "Make It Last." I heard that was pretty dope with him and Mariah.
Oh, it's a
But you
remake.
talking
It's recent.
recent?
Well, kind of
I
recent
don't
to
know
me. Should I tell
what
you?
song.
Hello.
Oh, I need to listen to that.
It
The one
was. It
Adele
was
remake.
really. Yeah, it was really. I heard it done numerous times by other artists. Let's put it like this. This is why I know Joe is talented. I've heard it performed by other individuals, other artists. No, my hats off to the artist that did that song. Joe took it to a whole different level, and it's to the point that I play that song so much on my radio station, not because I'm obsessed with it. The song was beautifully remastered and engineered by a great. I mean, that's and the way he sings, even when he starts out, "Hello." I mean, you get right into it. It's like he just opened the door and said, "Sit down and listen to this motherfucking song."
He does though.
Look, Darnell, you get ready to go look at it. You get ready to go pull the song up when you get off here.
Done with it. I'm putting the AirPods in. I'm going in.
Before we wrap up, Darnell, what's in store for you? What are you up to now? What's your end game here?
So I'm really excited to bring a couple more new tracks next year, early to mid 2025,
Mm,
and some springtime vibes.
yeah.
So super excited. I've written one song already. I got one recorded. So it might be an EP, but then I think there's some really exciting things tour wise that are on the horizon. So in conversations about that. So 2025 seems like a really interesting ride.
How can the viewers reach out to you and support you and listen to your music?
So my handle is Darnel Alexander Music, but it's with Darnell with one L. So and then watch out for the imposters. I got these people fake pages and all that. So if you see somebody trying to hit you up and they only got like a couple of posts and they got like a few, you know it ain't me. It ain't me.
Okay.
But Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook, all over that. So just find me wherever you live. Find me there, and I'll bring you some goodness.
Lead the viewers with what keeps you in that beast mindset, Darnell.
Music is really what feeds everybody's soul. It's like I feel like if music wasn't here, we'd be some lost souls. And I'm just playing my part and sharing the gift that God gave me. This isn't about me. This is about giving something special that I've had my whole life and kind of not really shared it in the way that I think God wanted me to. But we're doing it now. I want people to know that yeah, when I'm singing and putting this stuff out, that it's really for people to just take a trip somewhere in their mind, go back in time, feel something special, hear some real singing.
You know what? I want to once again thank you for taking time out to come on the show. Hopefully, I'll see you performing here in the greatest city in the world, Indianapolis, Indiana. I will be first in line, front row seats to watch you perform. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another exciting episode of the Andre the Beast Crayton show.